Good morning. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning. First, I want to start out by thanking you, the media, for the coverage that you've given us in this case and also given us room to work, allowing us to do our job. There's several people that I want to thank before we start. I'd like to thank the Sheriff's Department, our deputy investigators, for the outstanding work, the time they put in. Chief Moses Davenport, Chief of Brundidge, and his staff. Troy Police Chief Randall Barr, his staff, his investigators, his patrolmen. Our District Attorney Tom Anderson and his investigators. Troy University Police Chief John McCall. Our Coroner Jerry Williams. Montgomery County Sheriff Derek Cunningham and the people he sent down to assist. State Bureau of Investigation Forensic Technology Examiner Robert Briggs. I also want to thank the Mayor of Brundidge, Isabel Boyd. She has City Councilman Arthur Griffin with her this morning. Troy Mayor Jason Reeves could not be here today. He's out of town. Do we have anybody from the Troy City Council here? We have our Pike County Commission Chairman, Mr. Robin Sullivan. We have Commissioner Chad Copeland, who's here with us. Do we have any other? I want to express my thanks to the mayors and the commission and the chairman for their support throughout this, for the support they always give us to be able to have the equipment and tools that we need to do these investigations, and for the money that it costs to run these investigations, and I thank them. All of you have the handout. I'm sure you've all read it. Leon Terrell Flowers, age 23, of Troy, Alabama, has been charged and arrested for capital murder and robbery for the offense that occurred on Wednesday morning, July 24th at J&S Byrack Convenience Store located at 120 East Troy Street in Brundidge, Alabama. The clerk of the store, Neil Kumar, died of a gunshot wound during the robbery shortly after opening at 6 o'clock a.m. Several members from various agencies worked extremely hard to bring closure to this heinous crime and a senseless crime. The agencies working on this investigation include the Brundidge Police Department, the Pike County Sheriff's Office, the Troy Police Department, the Pike County District Attorney's Office, Troy University Police, Pike County Coroner's Office, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, State Bureau of Investigations, and the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences. Question?
I know originally you said the motive was robbery. Is that still what we believe it is, or is there a
Yes,
new?
ma'am.
Can we talk about this gentleman's history? Is he somebody familiar with you guys?
He is. I'll refer to the district attorney.
He's actually got 4 proper prior felony convictions. He was charged previously with a felony murder charge where he was not the actual assailant who killed the individual deceased in that matter, but he pled blind to manslaughter, and we asked for north of 30 years, and he was given basically time served, which I think was just over 3 years, was released on probation at the behest of the deceased dad. Now, he did ask on his benefit, but we asked for north of 30, so in my opinion, he shouldn't have been out to begin with, and he was only out for a matter of months before this happened.
So did he ever go to prison at all?
Probably served a day for day in the Pike County Jail for the trial.
Question for Mr. Anderson, please. There have been, across Alabama, many cases of people either not receiving the maximum sentence or being released early. As a prosecutor and experienced district attorney, are you concerned about what you're seeing in that regard?
We are, and we're hoping that with the help of the governor and the help of Attorney General Steve Marshall and Vocal and other victims advocate groups, that we've gotten the attention of the parole board and that they're going to make changes, sweeping changes to where that's not going to be done anymore, at least not nearly to the degree that it had been. Because you saw instances, I know in Shelby County, they had an individual released on a life sentence who turned around and killed 3 people.
Are you involved in that move?
I'm on the governor's task force that has to do with overseeing some of that.
Thank you, sir.
So is there Is there any reason why he was released? I mean, is it just an error?
He was sentenced, and he was given credit for over 3 years. His time served. Like I said, the deceased's father asked for some leniency, but we did not. We wanted a stiffer sentence. He was released. He was let free, and he committed this offense. We think he should have been in prison.
He was released on probation. Is that correct?
He was given a split sentence, and then the balance of the sentence was suspended in probation.
Question for a law enforcement officer, please. Perhaps the sheriff would be appropriate here, or the police chief. At what point did you develop him as a suspect in this shooting in Brundidge?
You know, I don't want to give a lot of specifics about the case because it's still an active investigation. It's ongoing, but it was probably within hours.
In reality, was he in custody at the end of last week as you continued to navigate through this investigation process?
The warrant for his arrest was executed on Saturday morning.
Since he was on probation, does anybody know, did he have a job? Was he passing drug tests? Was he checking in with his probation officer?
I'm not aware of that, but he was unemployed.
Question for Chief Davenport, please. In Brundidge, when this actually came up last week, you don't have much violent crime. Just talk about the reaction of the community, first of all, with the crime, and the reaction of the community now that this, that what you believe it will be now that this arrest has been announced.
So I'm kind of sorry about answering your question because I didn't really understand it because I was hearing in part.
Let me speak up, please, sir. Obviously, in your small town where there's very little violent crime, this was very out of character for the town. Talk about the reaction of the town. Talk about what you expected to be with this very quick arrest.
Oh yes, okay. It is. It's so far-fetched for our town for something like this to happen. But thank goodness to all the agencies that responded to this. I think the citizens of Brundidge will rest a little more at ease than they would have day before yesterday after hearing about this crime. So I think Brundidge's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Thanks again to all the agencies that got involved, and we maybe bring it closer to this situation.
Sheriff, did this same gentleman either rob or attempt to rob any other stores in the county that same day?
Not that we are aware of, but we are going back and looking at past offenses, and we'll be re-examining all of our older cases and the information that we have, and looking at other cases. I will say that Brundidge is a very close community, a very tight-knit community. It's the kind of community when someone new moves in, people know it because they know each other. This is very unusual for that community. I want to express a tremendous gratitude to that community for the phone calls that we received, for the input that we got from members of the community. Our phones were constantly ringing. People were providing information, whether it was relevant or not. That community was very active and very engaged in talking to law enforcement.
Sheriff, how valuable was that surveillance video during this investigation?
Very valuable.
I know you're not going to give away your secrets, but in what way?
Very valuable.
Is there reason to believe Flowers knew his victim before this happened?
Well, you've seen the video. It appears he knew what time the store opened. Whether he knew the clerk or not, I don't know.
Where is Flowers now?
He's in the Pike County Jail.
Pike County Jail.
And he will be brought up probably shortly for the judge to do an initial interview with him.
So when was he released for his original, the manslaughter? I guess it was.
exact date, but his day of conviction, he probably had a sentencing hearing within 30 days of it. Looks like he may have been released on or about April 30th of this year.
That's correct. Our records, the jail records reflect 4/30 of 19. So it would have been April. And 3 months later, we have this tragedy.
Had he become familiar to you guys between April 30th and this month on any other charges?
Not to the Pike County Sheriff's Department. We had not involved with any criminal activity. We had our deputies on patrol, and one night encountered him in the county near a business outside of the car. That's the only encounter we had with him. And that's been maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago. Chief Barker, you have anything?
I'm not aware of any instances we had encountered with him, during that time. I just, again, like to reiterate what's been said, appreciate the cooperation, between all the agencies. This was a tremendous effort on the part of all law enforcement in the county, and agencies outside the county and in the state. This is the way it's supposed to work. And this case is, the rest has been made, but this case is just beginning. There's still a lot of work left in this case before it comes to a close.
Mayor Boyd?
I would just like to say, I thank everyone for working together. That means a lot. Brundidge Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, along with people from Montgomery County and also Troy. Even the citizens. Right now, I can say there's 2 families out there that's heartbroken. And we need to emphasize that we need to try to pray for the families and ask God to give them strength to endure what they have to do. I would like to thank the Brundidge community for banding together, because without unity, there's destruction. And I am sure there's unity in Brundidge. You do not have to be afraid anymore of someone being out there that might harm you. We have taken care of that, and I'm quite sure you will watch your surroundings. I would like to encourage everyone to try to put some surveillance around your home. If you don't have it, get a camera. Make sure that people complain about dogs, but a dog will bark and let you know someone is around sometime. So again, thank you, Chief Davenport. Thank you, Russell, the Sheriff Department. Thank you from your office. And thank you from Troy Police Department. Again, we are so appreciative of whatever you did to make this come to a head. Thank you.
Sheriff, where was this gentleman apprehended, and who apprehended him? What agency, and was there did he put up a struggle, or pretty simple?
He offered no resistance. And he was located here in Troy by the Troy Police Department. This has been a tremendous team effort. And I don't know that we'd be here today if all of these agencies that are standing here had not been involved. There's a lot of work, a lot of manpower, and a lot of hours that go into a case like this. We still have work to do. As I told you earlier, it's still an ongoing investigation, still very active. Mayor Jason Reeves from the city of Troy was there with us for 2 days. He bought our lunch. He couldn't be here today. Very appreciative. I know the mayor of Brundidge, we were talking, and also our chairman of the county commissioner. If our chairman, Robin Sullivan, would like to say something. I think if you just look up here, that
you'll see a testament to what a close-knit community is. That's what we are here in Pike County, and that's the reason this thing came to a close as fast as it did. We just want to keep the family in our prayers. We're just so sorry for this incident, but we are glad that we have people that are professionals behind us to make this a safer place to be.
I got one more question for the district attorney. Sure. Just to make sure I understand everything correctly. So he got split sentences, right? And isn't that hard time? Like you actually have to serve?
He served 3 years, in excess of 3 years, day for day, and then had the balance of 15 years, which would be 12, hanging over his head while he was released on probation. But he did this during that time on probation. He was only out a few months.
Gotcha.
And I know that court police have been familiar with him previously. Like I said, we had 4 proper prior felony convictions from him about the same time. I do want to say this. I've been doing this for more than 15 years. I have never seen this many agencies drop what they're doing. Of course, keep their operations intact, but drop what they're doing and come together and bust their tails to try to get a dangerous criminal off the streets. And this isn't everybody involved, is it? This is a lot of them, but not everybody. And my hat's off to these guys because they toiled day and night until Leon Flowers was brought into custody and charged with his offense. So we may seek justice on behalf of the Kumar family. And I don't know the depths of their pain. They're here, they're present, but I assure you, our office of law enforcement here, we're going to fight tooth and nail to try to achieve justice on your end. Ken, did you have something?
No, sir. I was going to ask you to verify the basis for capital murders because it's a murder committed during the
commission of the robbery.
Thank you, sir.
If you can Sheriff, can you elaborate like the timeline of all this? I know he was arrested Saturday, but at what point? I mean, did you guys just learn it was him Saturday? Did you know it as soon as right after it happened? Can you elaborate, on that, on when you knew he was the suspect?
No. The question, and I don't want to change the focus of this press conference, and this is for another day, but the question has been asked more than one time: how do we stop the senseless killing? How do we stop the gun violence? All of you cover what goes on across this part of the state. You only report on the serious crimes. You don't report on the gunshots night after night after night in the cities. I've spoken with some legislators. I brought it up in a DA's meeting a month or so ago. I think we need to seriously look at adding an enhancement of 5 years to anything involving a gun crime, whether it's breaking into a vehicle and stealing a gun, whether it's breaking into a house, stealing a gun, whether it's assault first degree, somebody being shot, whether it's attempted murder. If there is a gun used during the course of a felony being committed, there should be a 5-year enhancement. No questions asked. That's an additional 60 months on top of the sentence that they're receiving. We've got these people out here running around with guns, and a lot of them. That's why they're breaking into these cars and these houses, stealing firearms. We've got to do something to get tough about gun crime. We need a 5-year enhancement. If that individual has a 2 or 3 conviction of 2 or 3 serious felonies, that should also apply on the 5-year enhancement. Had we had that in place, we wouldn't be here today.
So what's next? He's got a hearing with the judge. That's what happens next.
Probably here shortly, and he'll be brought up from the county jail to see the judge.
And there's a pending probation violation, so there'll be a hearing on that, whether or not the balance of that sentence will be executed.
These cases are tough to work. It's tough for law enforcement. You don't just walk in those crime scenes and forget about it. You don't see what we've seen and just forget about it. I've been doing it 35 years. I've seen death about any kind of way you can see it. It doesn't get any easier. This case is hard. It goes home with you. You remember what you see. These officers that respond to these calls, these investigators that work these cases, takes a tremendous toll on them. A tremendous toll. So keep all of our law enforcement family and all of our law enforcement partners in your prayers. That it? Henry, you check your judge, see if you
Thank you.